Robin is trying to learn the hardest lesson of all: how to relax. The kids over at the Teen Titans Academy are trying to figure out who Red X is, and it's time for a brand new origin for Static Shock. You have found yourself at the Comicstorian channel, where I take some of your favorite trade paperbacks and single issues of American comics, and I break them down into digestible bites to help you understand. Then I read them dramatically back to you. All alterations to the panels, text, and images are to prevent copyright problems, and all art is owned by its respective companies. Today we're going to be continuing our DC compilation episode, in which we take 2 to 3 of my favorite issues from last week, and we bring them to you in this big episode, allowing you to keep up on a weekly basis on current releases. Don't forget, if you like these issues and you want to make sure that Robin, Teen Titans, and Static continue, go to your local store and pick up these books or buy them digitally with the link down below. And also, I want to let you guys know that today's episode is brought to you by Darkfire Heroes. From the team that brought you Angry Birds, Darkfire Heroes is a free-to-play, real-time Hero Squad RPG set in a fantasy world in peril. Be a collector, strategist, or competitor in this mobile action RPG. Darkfire Heroes has a unique game mechanic with its real-time power aimed to strategically attack your opponents and claim victory. With more than 50 awesome heroes to level up and gear, you can now be ready to show the competition who's boss. In addition to its handcrafted campaign levels and uniquely designed enemies, Darkfire Heroes even has monthly live events to collect new heroes, explore new game modes, and compete against friends or other clans on the leaderboards. Select your 5 heroes and 5 spells and use your strategy to take down whatever challenge you may face. This game has been a blast to play with my friends and fans, and you can download the game for free and maybe even join our guild, the Comicstorians. Click the link in the description below to download and experience the uniquely awesome mobile action RPG that is Darkfire Heroes. Today we're going to be covering Robin issue 3, Teen Titans Academy issue 4, and Static number 1. I'll tell you where we left off with Teen Titans and Static when we get to their sections of the video, but when we last left off with Robin, he had gone to an island to enter into a competition in which he will fight to the death. With 3 lives, basically. He can be revived 3 times. If he dies the 3rd time, he's dead for good. He met up with Ravager, Deathstroke's daughter, and she took him to a beach where he was going to learn to relax. So let's get into that story. The beach party falls quiet as Damian walks up to the pavilion and Double XL asks how she brought in the narc. Damian scoffs. How many times does someone need to die? 3? Ravager grabs him, telling him to heal, and as she drags him along, Damian asks, is this what you wanted to train me in? The art of embarrassment? She tells him no. Today's lesson is all about how to have fun. Now, she always hated homework, so today they're going to study in the field. His assignment for the evening is to make a friend. Damian scoffs again. I've had friends. They've either all left me or grew up too fast. Ravager tells him that the Teen Titans were not his friends. Those were people he kidnapped and then bossed around. This is about getting out of your comfort zone. Here you can watch what people do to unwind, to relax. Even fighters in a death tournament know that they need to chill out at the end of a long day of trying to kill each other. Damian asks, will that help me win the League of Lazarus tournament? How? Explain it to me, Ravager. She tells him to just trust her on this. Sometimes fighting means being quick on your feet, and a good fighter knows how to loosen up. When I caught you with that manga, you went stiff. Flatline then yells, you read manga too? Is that why you ditched me? Because I know you're not coming here. You'd never be caught dead at the party. Damian glares and Flatline tells him to relax. It was a joke. Ravager shrugs, telling her that Damian doesn't understand jokes. As the two begin to walk, Damian sees one of the other contestants taking out a knife and stabbing it back and forth between his fingers. So Damian walks up and takes the knife, throwing it into the air, slamming his hand down. As the knife comes back down, Ravager asks, what are you? But Damian looks back and winks. It lands between his fingers and everyone stops to look, all cheering in amazement. After that, Damian hops up on the table while everyone tells him how awesome that was. And he laughs. If you guys think that was cool, I did way more hardcore things than that. One time, just then a man named Draken walks up stating, you want to hear hardcore? Me and the kid's old man used to go toe-to-toe. I was there to kill some mayor or senator. Kind of forgot. Just then I thought I had to drop on Batman and pow! The old man was pissed, shattered my jaw. Damian begins to state, that really isn't... But another contestant chimes in, no way. My story is way better. This one time? But as everyone then starts to share their stories about being beat up by Batman, Damian sighs, walking off on his own. After a bit of walking, he walks up to the side of the mountain, and when he hears a voice telling him that they used to sacrifice people here, he can feel it too, right? Whoever lived on this island before Mother Soul and the League of Lazarus, they used this location for ritual sacrifices to their gods. It's not just the everlasting smell of blood. It's sad how the feeling of death lingers around. Damien assumes his fighting stance, telling Hawk that Ravager believes that he is to be the greatest challenger here. Rules of the tournament state that they can't fight at night. But if he wants to break that rule, Hawk looks back, telling him that he's only trying to find a quiet spot to meditate. But he heard the sounds on the beach and he didn't recognize them. He's never really been one to socialize. Damien then says that he studied with the League of Shadows before and he was never with them. So why is he with them now? Hawk looks over the ledge, stating that they found him when no one else could, or would. They helped him, retrained him, and they gave him a purpose. Damien says that he knows what their training is like and he can't trust them, and Hawk tells him that they might have more in common than he thinks. My father was a hero too, just like yours. After a few begrudging moments, the two sit and they share their stories about their fathers. How both were always riding around in themed cars, both have a cave, and they always seem to put children in danger. Though Damien's father has a thing for leather, and Hawk's is more into fishnets. Damien says, yeah, my father's into whips and leather, lots of leather. The two find themselves laughing hysterically, but then a voice calls out to Hawk that he must stay away from the demon. Damien is their enemy. He's with the League of Shadows, and it is in his best interest to avoid the fallen sun. Damien looks back at the hooded man, telling him, I know you. You're Master Dusk. Nothing was ever good enough for you. Everything being way advanced or much younger than the rest. My mother banished you for throwing her son to the wolves, literally. Dusk says that he could have been their greatest weapon, but instead he's their greatest failure. Cocky and too headstrong for his own good. Too much like his mother and father. They won't make the same mistake again. Hawk, prove your loyalty to the Shadows. Hawk begins to take off his coat, telling him that he's sorry, and Damien readies himself, telling him, is this the best you have to offer? The League of Shadows has truly fallen from grace! For a moment, Damien begins to gain the upper hand, his kicks and punches finding their marks, but just as he dodges a sweeping kick, Hawk grabs him by the cape, slamming him into the ground, and the power is exchanged. Hawk lifts Damien's body up, and Dusk tells him that he will only heal if he dies, but he will live to survive this and live in pain. And Damien is thrown from the mountain towards the rocky waters below. Just before he lands headfirst, someone grabs him, telling him, I have you, son. Damien wakes up the next morning. He groans. You found me, father? A voice tells him, close. We are finally reunited. I have much to teach you. As Damien opens up his eyes, he can see his grandfather, Ra's al Ghul, standing over him. Well, the Robin storyline is definitely going in a direction that I wasn't fully expecting, but hey, I'm on board with it. Connor Hawk, we get more Ravager, we get Flatline, and now Ra's al Ghul. And before you say it, I know, Raish and Raz, two different ways to pronounce it. It was said in proper media both ways. I've explained this multiple times. Both of them are acceptable. Let's move on to our next story, Teen Titans Academy number 4. Now, when we last left off at the Teen Titans, Nightwing, Starfire, and the original Teen Titans had made an academy to teach all the young superheroes how to become Teen Titans, and eventually join Titans proper. On this team was a new speedster who was apparently given her abilities somehow through Amanda Waller, and basically was taught how to do things with Amanda Waller, which then allowed her to go to the Teen Titans. And then we discovered Red X, which was Nightwing's former identity, is now being used by someone else in the academy to team up with the Suicide Squad to try and recruit her. That was all what happened in the last 3 issues, but for this particular issue, you don't need to know much about that, because we're going to find out a little bit about a group known as the Bat Pack. It's a group of kids who are apparently a part of the Teen Titans Academy, and it's kind of a one-off issue that mostly follows them. It was Monday morning as the Bat Pack goes over their details. The question that they were seeking the answers to was, who is the new Red X? The leader, Chupacabra, studies their findings, along with Megabat, the silent brute, and Brat Girl, the tech genius. As for Chupacabra, he was a beast of prey, and he was ready. This was his pack. This was the Bat Pack. And this case doesn't stand a chance. They're gonna figure out who the mysterious Red X is that infiltrated their base. But before the semester even started, Chupacabra could feel it. Something or someone was hiding in plain sight, practically begging the eyes of the Bat to fall upon them. Maybe it's the Gotham in him, maybe it's the serum-induced senses of an apex predator, but he can smell a mystery a mile away. Bratgirl says that is not how it happened. The only thing that he was smelling on that ferry was his own puke spewing off the port bow. If he's going to tell the story, Diego, tell it right. Chupacabra yells that it's called Licencia Poetica, Marissa. Now, where was I? Oh right, mystery. The Roy Harper Titans Academy was teeming with it, and at its center was the man who brought us all here. 3 orphans and wards of the state, all here from Gotham City. Mr. Nightwing, formerly known as the Red X, and Robin, and maybe even Batman at like one point or for a minute, but still, Red X. The mysterious death-masked man in black that spawned not 1 but 2 copycats until here at Titans Academy, once again, Red X was reborn. This one's identity, like the last 2, was a carefully shrouded secret, one too tempting to resist. The Bat Pack rounded up the usual suspects, which wasn't hard. Bad guys crumble fast if you strike fear into their hearts, and that's the Bat Pack's specialty. Well, that and interrogation, or as Chupacabra calls it, good cop, bad cop. Their first suspect was Tubi, and after a little bit of shock therapy, he sang like a jailbird. Bratgirl asks, what is he talking about? We didn't get anything from Tubi. And Chupacabra says, I didn't say the singing was good, which is why we needed to get some information from one of our more reliable sources. Someone who kept tabs on all the comings and goings of the tower. Stitch the Snitch. This kid had the goods on every Academy student and some of the faculty. Of course, Stitch themselves was clearly not Red X material, which brings us to our next suspect, Matthew Price. Since the first day of Titans Academy, something about him didn't quite add up. Price was a real loner who didn't participate in group activities, which when you look like a walking prep school acceptance letter, it's pretty weird. Even weirder, at a school for super kids, this one has never showed us his powers. The word on the street is that they're pretty substantial. This kid has secrets. Maybe those secrets involved some extracurricular activities. Price gave us the slip and then stopped our investigations with his abilities. Megabat was no match. Turns out that being sent to detention gives you a lot of time to think. And after the attack from what seemed like a possible terrorist group, Red X defended us. Is he our friend, foe, out of control class prank? And what about Brick Petroso? He fit the angry loner at the academy. This kid is hiding something, cleverly stashed away, wrapped up somewhere out of sight. If we could get our hands on whatever that was. Bratgirl tells him that it's not Brick. Besides, look at this. A live shot from one of the security drones. It's Billy Batson. Bat-son? What a waste of a cool name! This kid has no skills, no powers, no secret identities to speak of. What made him Academy worthy? None of us knew. In fact, no one knew much about anything involving Billy Batson. He began screaming something, and then the feed died. But what the Bat Pack didn't hear was Billy Batson was calling out, Shazam! And after lightning striking, nothing happened. Since the Bat Pack lost visual on Billy for whatever reason, it was time to visit Billy's place where they met one Miguel Montez. After explaining what they were doing and needing to come in to look around, Miguel told them, rather rudely, no, and slammed the door on their faces, complete with the comedic falling and swinging of the nameplate. But it would seem that across the hall, Emma Radley heard their story and offered to let them look through their room. Now the question was, who the heck was M. Radley? All they knew was that he was Brick's roommate, which was good enough for them. Not sure why he was being so helpful. But no sooner did they get to work, but they were thwarted by Brick himself, freezing the room before they could get anything useful. Chupacabra calls for the Packmobile. And a second later, Megabat scooped up Chupacabra and Bratgirl and booked it out of there. Once they were finally getting away, the pack goes over their list of suspects and begins to count down each one that is not the Red X. They needed something fast, and if they kept going like this, they wouldn't be very good at what they do. But while looking over their lead suspect, Billy Batson, Miss Donna Troy snuck up and told them that Billy Batson is not Red X. Whatever it is that you're trying to do or pull, Red X is not to be played with. Anything that you find will be brought to me immediately. Now get back to your rooms. The overlords have spoken. The case has run cold until Billy. Billy was waiting for them because Miguel told him that the Brat Pack was looking for him, but they wouldn't blow their cover, so they just told him that he had the wrong idea. Everything was beginning to come undone. That is, until the door opens to their cave. And inside is Red X? So, I know this issue is more of like an in-the-middle filler episode, but hopefully we're going to find out who Red X is by the end of this arc. The introduction to Red X arc, as it would be. But I hope you guys enjoyed Teen Titans issue number 4. If you want to see what's going on in issues 1 through 3, I'll link them down below. But this is just, like I said, a filler issue. Now let's go to our last issue, the one that a lot of you probably clicked for. Static issue number 1, his brand new beginnings and his new origins. For a while now, there's been a buzzing in Virgil Hawking's head. This charge that runs through his blood, raising all of the hair on his body until it needs to get out. And that isn't a metaphor. It's reality. He's been training with his dad since he was a kid, taught him that he would never use his power in anger, but Francis Stone is a bully, and there's only so much of that he can take. Still, he's never been that guy. Angry, out of control. A month ago, he was just a regular kid with regular kid problems. Would he pass AP Chem? Obviously. When was he gonna get himself together and ask Frida Gorin out? Never. But a week ago, everything blew up. A week ago, people died. Things changed. He changed. And now, he has to live with that. As Virgil gets ready for school, his sister Sharon tells him to hurry up or he's going to be late. He waited so long that he isn't getting breakfast, but lucky for him, he has an S-tier sister who took time out of her busy day to pack him lunch. Virgil doesn't answer as he walks by, and as Sharon reaches out to grab him, he spins back shouting, "Don't touch me!" She grabs him by the jacket, asking, "Is that how it is now?" Last time that she does something nice for him. Virgil pulls himself together, telling her that he is sorry. Thanks. They call it the Big Bang. At least that's what it's being called here in Dakota City. The cops unleashed hell on the student protesters. Rumor has it that the gas was provided by Alva Industries, that it was untested. Seems the students were the guinea pigs. They gassed the kids who were begging to be seen as human. They watched them die without even trying to help. But that's not the end of it. The folks that managed to survive are still deep in the trenches of suffering. Some of these kids who lived, it seems like the people would rather that they hadn't survived. Those who got caught in the crossfire now have nowhere to go. They're scared and alone, and they have no idea why this is happening. Now there are rumors of bang babies, the kids that got the powers. The cops and DAs and fancy reporters, they're spinning the story the opposite way, blaming the kids for what happened. They're treating bang babies like they're a menace, as if they're the perpetrators instead of the victims. This is something big. This story needs to be talked about, needs to be heard. Make sure the truth doesn't get lost. They're going to need to fight. But as truths and lies spread about what actually happened that day, Virgil finally manages to make his way back to the school. First day back since he nearly fried someone. The buzzing is getting louder. It's making him twitch. Francis is a bully, but he lost it. He was out of control. Now everyone is whispering about him. Virgil Hawkins, the skinny nerd with a smart mouth, took on the guy with the clout to call himself Hot Streak. Wonder how much fallout there's going to be with that. But then Virgil's friend Caroline runs up calling out that he missed the other day. And Virgil says, "Hey, what did I miss?" Caroline tells him that Francis is a bang baby. He got powers in the protest, and he was going buck wild when he came. Derek showed up but as Derek walks by, Virgil says, "Right, Derek, of course." But as Virgil turns back to his locker, Frida and Richie run up yelling that he's back. Frida and Richie were there, and last time they saw him, he was a monster. Frida whispers that she didn't want to get him in any trouble, so they let the rumors go. But what happened? He scared them. Virgil says that they know that he would never hurt them, and Richie says, "No, you got it all wrong. We were scared for you. You almost greased Francis." Frida reaches out to touch him, but Virgil quickly drops to his knees to tie his shoe, telling them that it's not going to get him in trouble. People think Derek did it, and he isn't taking the fall as long as they need him to get to the States. Frida says that she knows that he's going through a lot. She was there at the protest too. But it wasn't the same. She didn't get gassed. She didn't think that she was going to die. But Virgil heads to the class, telling them not to worry. He can handle himself. They're still on for the new Shadow Dragon run this Saturday. He was looking at the new module, and it's going to be unreal. Virgil tells himself that Frida and Richie just don't get it. The way that the poison burned into his eyes, it made him choke. They had no idea, and he's just going to keep it that way. Because the looks that they gave him when he zapped Hot Streak, that hurt worse than the Alva gas. Before the Big Bang, everything in Virgil's life was perfect. He and his family got along. No one was giving him weird looks, but now everyone is quiet. His parents stare at him, and it seems like the only person who does defend him is Sharon. They ask him what he needs, and what he needs is for the buzzing to stop. He needs things to go back to the way they were. He needs things to stop being so out of control. But just then, there was a call from the outside, and everyone runs to the door, and Francis, with his new fire powers, begins to yell, little pig, come out, or I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll burn your house down." Virgil tells him, "Hey, you gotta chill out. Maybe we got off on the wrong foot. How about we start again? Let's go for a..." But before Virgil could even make it past his front yard, Francis punches him, telling him, "It's Hot Streak from now on, and shut your mouth. You were so tough before, but what was that, all hot air?" Virgil can still hear when he was begging him to stop, and I guess he has to prove that he's a man now. Maybe he can use that to get him away from here. He wipes his mouth, telling him, "Don't say I didn't give you a chance," and he gets up swinging, but Hot Streak pulls back. Yeah, that was pretty lame. Hot Streak swings but misses, and Virgil comes back with a kick to the side of the head. Hot Streak shakes it off. "Oh, you're gonna regret that," and he throws a massive fireball. But Virgil remembers something from class. An electrical field around a fire can ionize the oxygen, which in turn will smother the flames. Virgil then releases a static barrier around himself to stop the attack, and the rush of energy puts the flame out. He then goes on the offensive with a second barrier, putting it around Hot Streak, telling him, "Do not bring that mess around here again!" But as Virgil focuses on keeping Hot Streak contained, Sharon runs up asking what is going on. Is he okay? Virgil tells her it's fine. But while he's not paying attention, Hot Streak breaks in the barrier, telling him, "You should never turn your back!" But instead of attacking Virgil, he turns and throws another fireball, telling him, "You might want to think of this next time you want to mess with me!" The blast goes past Virgil and into the house, and within seconds, the entire building is on fire. As Hot Streak begins to laugh uncontrollably, Virgil, in tears, quietly says no. And there you have it, the brand new origin for Static Shock. Now, it's very close to the old one. It's not that new, but yeah, you get the idea. They're bringing back Static. We're getting Virgil Hawkins again. And if you want to know what's going on with him, check back on this channel every weekend as I do these compilation episodes, bringing together all the interesting comic books into one big video. We'll probably lump his comic books in with Robin and Teen Titans, since it's kind of like the younger superheroes of the DC universe. And don't forget to check out our sponsor, guys, by downloading Dark Fire Heroes in the link below, along with links of where you can buy each of these issues. Support us by going to our sponsor, or support the industry by grabbing these comics. And on that note, guys, I'll see you next time right here at the Comicstorian channel.